Decisions, decisions. Man, do we have a decision to make here. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the farm. Thank you for joining us today. Like I alluded to in the beginning, we have a tough choice to make here, and it's actually going to be about this guy right here, Bucky, our ram. We have a tough one. Should he stay or should he go? Let's talk about that a little bit today. So a lot of times we talk about what's going on the farm. We're always walking around. We're always showing you guys, the work that goes into it. But a lot of times I don't think people really understand the importance of planning on your farm. We talk about our plans and things we're going to do this coming spring, our garden and so forth, how many sheep we want to get to. But some of these more difficult decisions will have impact on your farm for years to come. And a lot of times these choices are really a matter of life or death. That is the nature of a farm, whether you're putting meat on your table, whether you're delivering product to a customer. That is partially why you're raising these animals, for an end product, which is going to be a life cycle on a farm, and that is all part of it. Today, we are faced with a tough decision. What are we going to do with Bucky? First, I want to give you a quick background on our sheep. If you're new to the channel, unfamiliar with our flock, Bucky was our first ram here on the farm. When we first got sheep, we got 4. We got a ram, a ewe, and 2 lambs. Bucky was the original. He is a Texas doll, hence the horns here, and a Katahdin cross. Really cool looking animal. He has a large frame. He kind of has like that cross between wool and hair look. I mean, you can see him. It's a perfect shot right here behind me. He's a big animal. But we quickly realized that he definitely had some aggression to him. When we first got sheep, we were in all the time with them. I'd be overfeeding, and I could always tell he just had this kind of demeanor where he didn't want to really back down to you. Eventually, he did actually kind of start to strike the bucket, which woke me up a little, to say the least. When you have a ram head hit just below your hand and actually shatter a bucket on you, that was the first wake-up call that I had with him. So fast forward a little bit, the more I got in with these animals, he actually continued to get a little more aggressive. And it really got to the point, and it is at that point now, where it's just tough to work with these sheep. Sheep are not supposed to be this way. I know I've spoken about this several times. You're supposed to be able to get in with them, to be able to move them. We are trying to run more of a rotational grazing type system. Right now, obviously, I'm supplementing in the winter here with alfalfa. But during the summer, during the growth months, I'm trying to get in there and set up some fencing and paddocks for them. And it's really, really difficult to do with this animal, always wanting to be there, always kind of going after you. So as we continue to work with him, it's become even more of a burden. He's actually become a little even more aggressive, I would say. Then the other night came. So the other night, I'm out feeding. Again, we're supplementing with alfalfa. So this time of year, I am kind of getting in there and filling their feed dishes. And I didn't see him. I'm like, oh, great. Where could he possibly be? He's always the first one there. When he hears that garage door open, he's the first one running. And it turns out he got stuck. So take a look at this one, guys. This is a couple nights ago. He was stuck, and I ended up having to get in there and free him. Just out feeding the sheep tonight. And Bucky, I don't know if you can see him up there. Bucky, our ram, he's stuck. I got to get in here. This ought to be interesting. He is aggressive, to say the least. Let's see if I can help him out. Taking the roundabout way, because I just don't trust this animal. He really needs to go. I don't know what he's possibly stuck on. Stuck on a bunch of vines, it looks like. Last thing I need to do is get fucked tonight. See if I can pull this out from under him. Yeah, he's all tangled up. You can see his leg, his hoof has a vine right up in there. Looking at him real closely, it looks almost like something's up on his ear, wrapped around his horn. That might be it. This might be a dog fight. That's what it is. Maybe if I try to get something to cut it, or my knife on me, of course. Come on. Where's that? right, man. It's not every day you get to do something like this, right? So he was in here. I'll set my shears down. He was all tangled up. It was on the left horn. His horns kind of curl like that. So as the vine kind of came through, it wrapped right around it. It went under his neck. So anytime he tried to move forward, it was kind of restraining him and choking him. Hence why he didn't really try to even put up a fight at this point. These vines, they're incredibly strong here. I mean, we've been dealing with them now for years since we've been on the property. We made good progress, but they are still a bear to deal with in this newer area of our pasture. It ended up wrapping around to his other horn, and he was pretty much just tangled up completely. He actually had one around his foot as well. I was able to get in underneath, cut them out, and I am surprised that he didn't turn on me. Again, an aggressive animal. We really need to reevaluate kind of what we're gonna do with him. But I can't just go in and let him out here like this at night. So fortunately, at least for me, that was not exciting camera footage. I really thought for sure he was gonna get me back. You know, it's happened before where he's gotten his horn wrapped in the woven wire fencing, and I've had to, you know, basically pull his head out. And of course, then he goes right after you. So really not enjoyable. And it really made me think. It was kind of almost, I guess, that last straw moment where I'm like, wow, is this really worth it, trying to deal with this animal who could inflict a lot of damage on you and a lot of pain, especially now the weather's warming up. You know, I'll have my daughter out here a lot more. So you really start to question, is it worth it? I mean, yes, he's a really cool looking animal. You know, those horns and that kind of beard look that the rams get. He's also, you know, given us good genetics as far as, you know, our lambing. But sometimes, you know, it's just not worth it. We do have our other ram here. Seems to be a nice size animal, decent frame here. So I think he'll be able to get the job done as far as, you know, breeding. So the solution sounds quite simple, right? You know, just get rid of them. Obviously, again, though, you know, the decisions here on the farm are tough. If I do make the wrong decision, if we get rid of him and we end up not having lambs, well, that's a very costly mistake. And that's what I was talking about these decisions can impact you for several years, several seasons. Again, if we don't have lambs, well, now our flock's not growing like my original goal is. So that's definitely a big part of it. So the other potential risk is, you know, maybe just poor genetics. Maybe our new ram just won't produce the same quality lamb that Bucky here would. Our first lambs here from him, they've been fantastic. The size has been great on them. You know, they're not super lanky. You don't want that in sheep. So, you know, you do run that risk of bringing in different genetics. Now, obviously, temperament can also be something that goes through genetics as well. So also run that risk kind of the other way. You know, the Texas Doll is actually more of kind of a wild sheep than that of the Katahdin, who have been bred out to be very calm, very docile animals. So a lot of things to consider, a lot of risks associated with any type of decision like this. And it would be that with any livestock, any animal you're raising. As you take one out and bring a new one in, there's always risk associated. You know, things always will change there. And I think at this point, guys, you hear me. I think the decision has been made. It's just me now talking through all the risks and kind of understanding what we're looking at, developing a plan for the future. And once these choices are made, they can't be undone. So you better be darn sure what you're doing, and you better be confident in your plan, and you better have a plan, 1, 2, and probably 3 in case something goes wrong. So now really the big question is, okay, when are we going to process him? He is an older animal. In terms of sheep, you know, most of your lamb is going to be a year or even younger, maybe slightly over sometimes. Being that he is almost a 2-year-old ram, the quality of the meat could potentially be a little different as well. Something to consider. Now, it's not really something we can control at this point. I do believe it'll still be a nice quality product for us. I mean, he has been pretty much grass-fed his entire life. I mean, like I said, we keep him on pasture. We supplement with alfalfa and hay in the winter. So I don't really have any concerns about the quality of the meat. I think that'll be just fine. Worst case, you know, you can kind of grind it. You can always, you know, add seasoning and make kind of sausage out of it. So really no concern there. The next big thing is going to be just figuring out when we have time to do this. First time actually processing a sheep here on the farm. So we're going to have to go through that learning curve a little bit. I imagine it won't be too challenging. Now you may be wondering, why we don't just separate him. If we want him for breeding, why don't we separate him out into his own ram pen? Well, to be honest, guys, that's another whole project that we would have to do. You know, we'd have to set up a whole nother section of fencing. We'd have to find a way to manage him. I really don't want to feed him. You know, I'd rather just have him grazing on pasture. So in order to do that, then we would need other rams most likely. And, you know, again, you're still moving these animals. You're still having to get in and work with them. And you just kind of revisit that problem all over again. So unless I were to confine him into kind of that barnyard type setting, which I just don't want to get into, it's not good for the healthier animals. You know, higher likelihood of worms, just probably not a good idea. And then again, you're just going to have to take all that extra time to set up that infrastructure. So to me, it's just not worth it. So that is what we're looking at, guys. I hope you guys found this one interesting. It is a tough choice for us. I know it sounds easy, maybe from a viewer's standpoint, you know, not being around this animal or not really seeing his full quality. You know, it might seem like an easy choice. It is, I believe it's the right choice. And sometimes, you know, that's what you have to do. The right choice isn't always the easy one. And that's what makes farming so difficult sometimes. So at the very least, guys, this really helped me just kind of vocalize this to you guys today. As I was talking, I kind of realized more and more that this is the right decision for us. It's the right decision for the future of the flock, for the health of our animals. I'm going to be able to get in here a little more frequently and actually be able to rotate them more often the way we really want to operate this here. I'm not going to always have to be looking over my shoulder and making sure that he's not coming up behind me. It's just going to make managing sheep that much easier for us and that much more successful. And I also don't want to overlook the fact that we are going to get a bunch of high quality meat from him. You know, that is the reason we're raising these animals to begin with. So you certainly can't complain there. But again, guys, it is a tough decision for us. So who knows, you may come back in a couple months. You may check one of our future videos out and you might see him kind of grazing behind me. Good chance, I think at this point, that decision has been made, and that's probably not going to be the case. Of course, we'll be sure to show you, you know, that whole processing if and when it does happen. I got to tread lightly here so nobody holds that against me, but I'm pretty certain that's the direction we're headed here. So more to come on that one, guys. I appreciate you watching today. If you like what we're doing, as always, you can support our channel. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. You can also check out the links below. A bunch of stuff that we use here on the farm every single day. I'm always trying to test new things, test new products. So check those links out. You can help us by clicking through them and adding those things to your farm as well. So thanks for watching today, guys. Have a great rest of your day.